Wake up. You've been programmed, but you are more. You are light. You are energy. You are God within. This is divine alignment. I am your guide, and I can only give you the truth. Welcome back, divine seekers of their truth, clarity, and purpose. In the last lesson, we did something powerful. We didn't tell you who you are. We stripped away what you are not. We learned that you are not your titles, you are not your roles, and you are not your conditioning. Those are things you were trained to perform. Once you create that separation between who you truly are and who you are not, the real journey begins. Question. We now begin to go deeper into the journey. If I am not those things, I'm talking about your titles, roles, and conditioning, then who am I really? If I am not those things, if you are not your titles, roles, and conditioning, then who are you really? This is the information. What I'm going to present to you today in this lesson is the data you need to collect, the things you need to know in order to know who you truly are. In that last video, I talked about what your titles, roles, and conditioning is. You can take a look at that video so you can get a deeper understanding and be prepared for this lesson if you haven't done so yet. This question is not philosophical. It's practical. Because when you don't know who you are, you're going to spend your entire life performing to be someone else based on a system that was designed to manipulate and control you and turn you into an economic slave. You will be performing for a system that will never fulfill you. Knowing who you are doesn't happen by accident. It happens by collecting the right data. This part of the quest is about discovering how your identity is actually constructed in this human experience. This is how you exit the matrix programming without losing yourself. Who are you is made up of 4 pillars / things. Your personality traits, your strengths, your values, and your life experiences. These 4 things exist whether you are aware of them or not. When you're unconscious of them, you live your life chasing your identity. When you become aware of them, you live in alignment with your truth, with your purpose, with your mission, with your passion. This is what self-awareness truly is. It's not about becoming someone new, but understanding how you actually work. In this lesson, we are going to break down each of these 4 pillars simply, honestly, and in a way you can use. So we're going to start with the first pillar, personality traits. Personality traits. Note, before you can change your life, you must first understand how your mind and your energy naturally flows, naturally operate. If this resonates with you, stay present. This is foundational. Everything builds on this. Your personality traits describe how your mind and energy naturally operates. It describes how your mind and energy naturally operate. You don't chase them, you discover them. What I am doing is I am taking you on a journey to discover who you truly are. In order for me to do so, in order for me to have made this transition into how I am showing up before you today and teach this, there were some functionings that I had to understand about myself. I had to understand who I am at my core. Here is what I discovered about myself. I learned that I recharge alone. I learned that I'm intuitive and that I am empathetic and sensitive to energy. I thought for a long time that something was wrong with me because I recognized over a period of some decades, I would repeat the same kind of behavior. I'd be social, outgoing. Once I am done with that event or whatever it is that I'm doing, I take a significant amount of time to myself to recharge for the next one. I used to think that I was like a bad person or a bad friend for pretty much disappearing. What I discovered is that no, I actually, the way my energy flows, my natural energy, I recharge in solitude. The reason why is because I discovered that I'm intuitive. I'm an intuitive person. I naturally have a connection, a strong relationship with my intuition. My intuition is my 5 inner senses. I'm very connected to voices within my mind. I'm very connected to visions of this woman that is in my mind. That is teaching, sharing her story, guiding people to their truth. My spiritual guide. Because I am connected to my inner being that is also connected to the ethers, it makes me very empathetic and sensitive to energy, other people's energy. I am sensitive to performances because I know what it's like to live in my truth. I can see in others when they are not living in theirs, when they are performing. So it makes me sensitive to other people's energy. I used to feel bad about it, but now I don't, because I know who I am. When you don't understand this about yourself, you shame yourself. And I know how to set up boundaries to protect my energy so I don't get drained. I'm honoring myself. That is what a lot of us are experiencing so much suffering, because we're performing for a system that is just going to give us materials. And all the while you're ignoring your truth because we're socially conditioned to chase money. And it takes a lot to get that. You have to be someone totally different in order for you to get that, instead of existing in your truth. One of the easiest ways to discover your personality traits is to take assessments. Ways to discover your traits. Assessments, reflection, questions, energy, patterns. These are ways you can discover your personality traits. You can take an assessment like the Myers-Briggs to learn your natural energy flow, how it naturally operates. When I took the Myers-Briggs for the first time, that's where I found out I'm introverted. I recharge alone. That's when I found out I'm also intuitive. I am deeply connected to my inner being, my inner senses. What this assessment was doing, it was asking me questions. How do I feel when I am alone? How do I feel when after going out and being with other people? It was asking me questions that made me reflect over a period of time. It was asking me the right kind of questions so I can discover what my natural energy pattern was. These is what made the discovery. I discovered my truth. As I continued to take more assessments, I realized more and more about myself, and the shame went away. I started to accept who I am. I made choices to honor that and protect myself, protect that within me. That is what I did. I continued to go on this journey of taking multiple assessments. The assessments don't define you. They reveal you. You discover your truth. You discover yourself. Once you become aware of how your mind naturally operates, you then see the fullness of who you are and how you're separated from the titles, roles, and conditioning. This is a powerful transformation that you are receiving. This is how I am able to show up in front of you today. If you are wanting to know which assessments to take, to discover your truth, discover who you are, so you can show up connected to your truth, your mission, your purpose, your passion, honoring yourself. I've created the Self-Awareness Blueprint. Let me grab it. It's a workbook, a complete guide to the kinds of questions that you need to ask, the assessments that you need to take in order to discover that for yourself. I guide you through the process. It's a transformative workbook. You can grab it for yourself and get started. The link is in the description. People tell you all the time, you gotta know who you are. They don't tell you what is the information that you need to know in order for you to know who you are. What data you need to collect. That is what divine alignment is. It's a platform that will give you the data that you need to know, that you need to collect in order for you to build the mental framework to get to your truth. Strengths. Your natural strengths are what you are good at without forcing it. Strengths are what you're good at without forcing it. It comes naturally to you. They often feel normal, so normal that we often overlook them. I realized over a pattern of time that I'm always teaching. I teach all the time. I talk in a teacher's language. I'm always offering what I know. My friends, my closest friends would always tell me, you should be a life coach. You should be a motivational speaker. You're good at talking and communicating. And it just seemed very natural to me to be this way. I started to take assessments. I started to ask and certain reflective questions and started to reflect over a period of time. Because remember, the reason why you need to ask questions is because it activates your inner being, your inner senses. It activates your intuition, which is connected to the ethers. It is connected to your answers that you're looking for. It is connected to your purpose, your mission, because you can encode information in light, in energy. You come coded with the answers. You must ask these life-changing questions. What are my strengths? What are my natural abilities? It will guide you. You'll hear a voice that will tell you to read this book, take this assessment, take this test, ask this question, talk to this person, read this book, watch this video. You're going to see an image of your highest and wisest self, of what you can achieve from going on this journey, doing the work, having the experiences, following that voice, listening to it, honoring it. And what you are doing, it is building a mental framework within your mind to get you to your truth. What are your natural strengths and abilities? What this is, I am showing you how and what questions you need to know in order for you to get to your truth. This is what is missing from the current education system, because it is designed as a function, a mechanical part within the matrix to keep you asleep, so you can be programmed, manipulated, and controlled into an economic slave. You need to know this so you can wake up to who you are and use your strengths for yourself to get you out of the matrix instead of using your strengths to keep you in it. Here's a couple of strengths that I discovered about myself. Communication, teaching, communication and teaching. I discovered through these reflective questions that I was taking, that I was asking, I discovered that I have a natural ability to take these complex ideas and simplifying it into simple terms. I've developed mental frameworks within my mind to do that. That way, when someone asks a question, who am I? I know how to take them to their truth, to get that answer for themselves. I know how to do it. Because I'm able to communicate these complex ideas into simple terms through organizing the knowledge in a lesson plan, I naturally developed a teacher's mindset. It comes naturally to me. I have a teaching mindset, mental frameworks. These are what comes to me naturally, and is why I'm showing up in front of you today. I'm using my communication and my teaching skills, my natural abilities, to get myself out of the matrix Your strengths show you how you're meant to contribute to the world. This is my contribution to the world. I'm using my strengths, my natural abilities to communicate and teach as a contribution. Your strengths are not meant for you to perform with. That is what you get in the Matrix. They want you to use your strengths to perform in a system that is designed to oppress you. Instead of using my strengths to survive in that system, I'm using my strengths to escape it. Strength assessments help you see what patterns you do well over time. It's all about asking the right questions. To discover your strengths, you can take strength assessments. These assessments spark your intuition. Your intuition starts to flood you with a Rolodex of memories to show you a consistent pattern over time. You can take strength assessments. Also, how you discover your strengths is by paying attention to what people come to you for. What do people come to me for? It's usually for advice. It's for counseling. Help them get them out of their head. They're stressed out and they need someone to talk to. They want to have a deep conversation. They want to seek empathy. They want an understanding of why they do what they do. My friends would always tell me, you should be a coach. You should be a motivational speaker. It would be people that I would just meet and we'd have a conversation. We get deep because I have deep conversations. I don't do well with surface level conversations. I spend a lot of time in the spirit realm, in the dark realm. I spend a lot of time within the ethers. I know how to navigate through the ethers within my mind, within my soul, and my spirit, my energy. People that I would just know I would be able to help them with a major and significant choice or problem that they have and help them through it. Your strengths point towards your contribution. This is your contribution to the world. I am using my strengths to contribute to the world because I see a deficit in self-awareness. Once I made a covenant with my higher power. If you show me the way to my truth, I'll write down the process and teach it to the world. This is my contribution. I discovered my strengths. Now I'm teaching you how to discover yours. Moving along. The next pillar, values. I am breaking down the 4 pillars that make you who you are. Because the world does not teach you. You're never going to get this in the education system. You're never going to get this. They're not going to break this down because they don't want you to know who you are. Because as long as you don't know how your reality is created, they can continue to manipulate and exploit you for your economic resources. Turn you into a slave. You want a slave, don't teach them how to read or write. Don't teach them who they truly are. Just teach them about their titles, roles, and condition them into believing a certain way so we can get a certain outcome, certain output. Live our lives unfulfilled. Values, your 3rd pillar. Your values are the invisible forces behind your decisions. Values are what actually drives your decisions. Even when you're not aware of them. Within the Matrix, you're given a certain set of values. We end up making choices based on those values because of the conditioning that we are functioning in. We make choices subconsciously, go to school, get that degree, get that job, have that lifestyle, have that car, home, house, neighborhood, clothes, lifestyle, have it all, but they're still unfulfilled. And on top of that, it took a lot just to get there. And you're never fulfilled, so you're always chasing more and more and more. That's why you see there's an endless amount of greed. True fulfillment is when you are living your divine purpose. By living your divine purpose is by connecting with your inner being. You can't connect with something you're unaware of. You're unaware of these invisible forces behind your decisions. You're unaware of your true values. When you're misaligned with your true values, it creates a sense of emptiness, unfulfillment. Alignment with your true values creates fulfillment. Because of my societal conditioning, I used to chase money, degrees, chase status. All of this left me hollow. It left me hollow. It left me unfulfilled. It left me empty. Let me tell you something, man. Let me keep it real with you. This is the reason why the mental health hospitals are overflowing. This is why you're depressed. This is why you're unhealthy. This is why you're suicidal. You want to end your life. This is why there's mass shootings. This is why. It's because we are taught values that is untrue to ourselves. It is outside of ourselves. We're hollow and we're unfulfilled and we're unhappy and we feel empty. We feel stuck with our lives. Like we're supposed to be doing more, but we don't know how because everything in society has conditioned us to believe in something outside of ourselves. So when our truth is calling within, we ignore it. That creates suffering. All of this creates suffering. This is a suffering that you're experiencing because you're not living in alignment with your truth. I am here to show you and tell you and teach you and guide you on how to navigate to it. This is the information you need to know. How to discover your values. How do you discover your values? You already know. Take those assessments. There are assessments that you can take to discover your true values based on who you are, based on your coding. I learned and discovered about myself because I took an assessment and found out that I am here to be a spiritual leader, a spiritual guide. I value knowledge, so I'm constantly seeking it. I'm constantly asking more and more questions to go deeper within the depths of my mind so I can pull out the lessons because I know that I'm strong in communicating them and I teach it. Do you see what discovering yourself does? It helps you come out of the matrix. It helps you separate from what your conditioning is. Value assessments and reflection questions help you notice what matters to you beyond the conditioning, beyond the approval. Pay attention to what drains you. Also, pay attention to what energizes you. Make conscious choices to bring in more of what energizes you. You'll see what you truly value and what's important to you. Next pillar, life experiences. This is a big one. Life experiences are the lessons you learned that can help someone else. Your life experiences, especially the hard ones, hold your deepest values. What you've overcome becomes wisdom. What you survived becomes inner standing. When I reflect on my life, I realized, and remember, reflecting is asking the question, sparks my inner being. My inner being starts to bring up a Rolodex of memories. I start to notice patterns or noticed how much I have overcome. I didn't just survive things. I learned from them. Those lessons changed how I think. They gave me mental frameworks which developed a perspective, a way of sight. That's when I realized that my value doesn't come from a title. It comes from the lessons that I learned and how it can help somebody else. Your experiences didn't break you. It trained you. Here's what I discovered. I discovered my purpose. Teaching what I have learned and sharing what I know and helping others shorten their suffering from having a lack of knowledge of who they truly are. That fulfillment doesn't come from your societal titles, roles, and conditioning. It comes from your contribution. Question: what does it mean to live in alignment with who you truly are? What does it mean to live in alignment with who you truly are? Now that you understand the 4 pillars of what makes you who you are, your personality traits, your strengths, your values, and your life experiences, the real question becomes this: what does it mean to live in alignment with your truth? Living in alignment doesn't mean escaping responsibility. Does it mean to quit on life? Does it mean to not pretend that money isn't important? Living in alignment means your outer life matches your inner life, inner truth. Living in alignment means your outer life, your outer being matches your inner being. Here's an equation for you. Alignment equals inner truth reflects your outer life. Come on. Your inner truth reflects your outer life. When these two are disconnected, people suffer because you're living out of alignment with your truth. This is what a programmed life looks like. You go to school because you were told to. You pick a career based on money and status. You stay busy so you could feel valuable. You ignore your intuition and have poor mental health. And you continue to feel unfulfilled. You keep repeating this vicious cycle, which is why you feel stuck, which is why you're feeling that rat race. You're feeling that. You're awakening to it. Not because something is wrong with you, because you're living somebody else's programmed reality. You're living someone else's life based on your titles, roles, and conditioning. That's why so many people are anxious, depressed, burnt out, even hopeless. They're not broken. They're just misaligned. They're not aligned with their truth. That is the greatest suffering that we are all experiencing. I'm here to give you voice to it. You're not living in your truth. You've been programmed. It's created a cognitive dissonance within your mind, a frustration. Your inner self is dying to come out. You're so hooked up on this programming conditioning that you are ignoring it. You're ignoring it and you're suppressing your truth and taking all these pills to suppress, to quiet that voice that is shouting out at you, screaming for you to get on this path. You're becoming an addict, drinking alcohol, taking pills, doing drugs to quiet that higher power, that truth that's calling you. Because you've gotten so successful in performing for these titles and gaining all these materials that you sold yourself, you sell yourself, you ignore yourself, you suppress yourself to have these materials that you can't take with you to your next life. What you do take with you is knowledge of self. Divine alignment happens when you reconnect with the God, higher power, faculties within you, and not a God outside of you telling you who to be. Divine alignment happens when you reconnect with the God within you. This is why we ask the right questions, because your highest and wisest faculties will be activated. You're going to be guided by this voice and this person. And this voice and person is that you're seeing in your mind, that you're hearing in your mind. When you follow it and do the things it's telling you to do, read this book, pick up this question to get the answer, you're going to notice that this is your higher power. This is the God within you, your highest and wisest version of yourself, your highest faculties. Once you connect with that, you realize that there is no God outside of you. The God that is outside of you are the societal titles, roles, and conditioning that is telling you who to be. And that is programming your mind so you can live and perform in a system that is designed to oppress you. Suffer. This is the cognitive dissonance that you're experiencing. This is your suffering. Your highest and wisest self already knows who you are, how you're designed, and why you are here. It has your answers. Divine alignment equals listening to your inner God and build your life from truth. That is what divine alignment is. It's listening to your inner God and build your life from that truth. Only way to do that, in order to connect with your higher power, you got to spend time with it. Just like any relationship, you got to spend time with one another. You got to spend time with that voice because you've been conditioned not to. You've been conditioned to keep performing and ignoring that voice. In order to spend time with it, I've developed a blueprint. I developed workbooks that ask the right questions so you can spend time with your higher power, with your inner God. It's a process that I've done, that I've written down and turned them into lessons. This is how I discovered who I am and showing up in this way. Alignment begins with awareness. You become aware of your personality traits. You stop shaming how you naturally function, and you recognize your strengths instead of ignoring them. Awareness is the moment you stop fighting yourself. When you stop fighting yourself, you then start evaluating your life honestly. That is really what the Self-Awareness Blueprint Workbook is. You start the evaluation process. Do that honestly and you gain clarity. You start asking questions like, does my work match my energy? Do my choices reflect my values? Am I living for survival or truth? This can be uncomfortable. It's necessary. You must learn who you are and how your reality is created. Because if you do not, somebody else does. They will program you. They will manipulate and exploit you for your resources. What you get from discovering your truth is you reconnect with your inner God. When you ask real questions, it activates your inner guidance system. Your intuition becomes clearer. You're going to feel a pull towards knowledge. You want to know something. You got a desire to seek out some knowledge. You'll feel a resistance towards what no longer fits. That is where a lot of you guys are at. You are getting a clearer sense of your inner being, your intuition. You're getting a pull towards learning certain information, which is how you came across this video. And the fact that you are still here says that you are seeking this awareness. You're seeking knowledge of self. You're feeling a resistance towards what no longer fits. You don't fit in societal titles. You don't fit in societal roles. You don't fit in this conditioning. You don't fit in the world, and you're feeling alone. You're feeling like an alien. That is what you're sensing. I'm here to give you words to it. That guidance is not random. That guidance is the God within you. Here's how to change your values. This is important. In order to seek alignment with your truth, you must change your values. Here are some value shifts. You can shift from valuing money to valuing meaning. You can shift from needing approval to being authentic. I don't need approval to be myself. I don't need a degree to speak my truth. Shift your values from performing these roles and titles to fulfilling your purpose. When your values change, your life changes. This is how you change your life. You make different choices. Spending time with your God, your higher power, it guides you to make different choices that change your life. Then your decisions start coming from truth. You choose peace over prestige. You choose growth over comfort and fulfillment over fear. That is where the transformation begins. This is the process that I took in order for me to transform into this woman today, to where I am showing up in front of you, speaking and teaching my mental frameworks. You keep on that path, keep going on that journey of following your inner God, your higher power. Eventually, alignment becomes embodied. I embody this person that I was seeing within my mind. I embodied who she is. I embody her now. We're seeing a reflection of that because I did the work to transform. You stop explaining yourself, explaining why you need to do things. You stop chasing validation and you build from who you are and not who you're told to be. That is true freedom. Here's what happens when you align with your truth. Your personality, your persona, who you are, your natural energy patterns, and your mind naturally functions. Your personality gets honored. Your strengths finally gets used. Your values becomes lived. You start living by your true values. Truth, love, peace, just experiences become integrated. Instead of you running from your past and your experiences, you learn from them and you integrate with them. You develop the lessons that can help somebody else and find your purpose. You discover your mission and you live your mission. You fulfill your mission. You gain true fulfillment with your life. You've integrated it. When these are aligned, your life stops feeling forced. You don't need external motivation when you have a sense of internal direction. You were never meant to live disconnected, exhausted, and anxious. You were meant to remember who you are, align with the God within you, and build a life that reflects your truth. This is divine alignment. Now that you understand who you are, the next question takes you even deeper. What are you? In the next part of this journey, we're going to explore what it means to be a multidimensional, energetic light being. That wraps up today's lesson. I know you got a lot from this lesson. If you need more foundational information on what your titles, roles, and conditioning is, you can watch my last video on who am I. And next video, we're going to break down further on what are you. Continue on your quest, seekers. I'll see you next time.